All right, pull up a chair. Let's go full screen on your laptop. Turn your phone sideways or whatever it is you do, because it's time for the latest installment of Autobahn Member Racing. Welcome to live stream coverage of the 2025 Spec Miata Championships on this perfect autumn day near Chicago. Today, both Spec Miata and Spec Miata 2 will compete on the 2.1 mile South Circuit in round 12 of this 14 race calendar. Greetings, everybody. I'm Mike Anzaldi. Today I'm joined in the commentary box by my new friend Dennis Michelson. Dennis, welcome back to Autobahn, sir. You picked a good one. These points races are really starting to heat up.
Chamber of Commerce weather, plus great racing action, plus a great partner in the booth. It's a perfect day.
What a Sunday. What a Sunday. We're really looking forward to this one. Today's top storyline has got to be the epic level battle between the veteran and the newcomer. In one corner, you have a three-time club champion with 35 wins in his 8th season. His name is Brandon Collins. In the other corner, the 2024 Rookie of the Year. He's a 15-year-old in his second full season who has matched his rivals' 5 wins this season. His name's Gavin Gleitzman. These two speedsters have claimed, like I just said, 10 of 11 wins in the championship so far, with only Taro Kishida taking a single win in late June. But otherwise, it has been the Brandon and Gavin show since then. Over there in Spec Miata 2, a super quick young fellow named Eli Desart has put together 5 wins in a row, and he's won 6 of his last 7 races. This kid is 3 wins away from a perfect score of 1,000 points to cap off a sterling 2025 effort. Now, this is Eli's first full season. Last year, he squeezed in 6 races trying to get a feel for wheel-to-wheel racing, and I say it worked. In just 17 career races, the youngster is staring down the barrel of a championship while looking to set a record for points in that class. But he'll have Connor and Eamon Ryan, along with Bob Reisinger, looking to play spoilers. Sean Benet is in that mix-up now, so lots going on in that championship. The championship standings, as you see on your screen there, you got Eli Dysart. Looks like he's pretty well clear of Connor Ryan, and Connor Ryan in this particular race, Dennis, he needs to start at the back of the grid. It's been multiple times this year that Connor's had to start at the back. Didn't have a transponder in qualifying.
He's put on a good show for him from the back for us in the past, though, so I'm expecting the same thing here. And over in that the spec class, we got the 2 hot drivers, but they didn't finish up front in qualifying.
No.
So this should be very interesting. Brandon Collins all the way back in 7th, and Gavin Gleitzman leaves from the 3rd position. So we're going to see a lot of great action right from the drop of the green.
I'd say you're right. That top 10 is very confusing. But back to these championship standings here, you're kind of seeing what's going on. A couple of interesting battles. And one that you might not notice on the scoreboard is very, very close. That's Bob Reisinger and Eamon Ryan. Now, Eamon Ryan's missed a few races this year, so that 6:12 doesn't really reflect his full potential. Gamed out a couple of scenarios over the next 3 races, and really these 2 drivers should end up very, very close in that last round, within about 10 points of each other. So that is definitely going to be one to watch. That is Spec Miata 2. Looks like the cars are starting to queue up there in pit lane. That is our Lexus safety car leading them, and we'll enter the track here for 2 warm-up laps in just a short amount of time from now, and we'll be taking green here in probably less than 6 or 7 minutes. Dennis?
It's going to be very crowded out on the racetrack with both classes with a separate start, but 18 laps of racing, Mike. There is going to be some intermingling among the classes as we get going.
I think you're right about that, friend. I think there's going to be some intermingling. There's going to be I can't imagine we're going full green the entire 18 laps. We usually, throughout this season, in this class, we are seeing yellow full course caution setups, going on. So we should probably expect that today. Good point, though, that you make. Split start today. So Spec Miata out front, Spec Miata 2 will be paced about a length of a straight behind the Spec Miata field, and they will take their own green flag just after Spec Miata.
It's been very interesting this year. We've seen good patience by drivers, but we've also seen a few drivers in a big hurry to get to that front. It's been an interesting contrast throughout the year, but we have seen some fantastic racing each and every week.
I agree with that, and I think that this first couple of laps of this race number 12 is going to be a doozy, because if you look at this top 10, this is an interesting one. That's Sam Bowman at the front of the field that you see right there in pit lane. He has Taro Kishida on his left on the front row. That's not typically the case around here, but Sam Bowman is very, very quick. He is making a case for being one of the youngest, fastest ones on the property. Gavin Gleitzman would have something to say about that. He is right behind on the inside in the second row. He's got Matt Keck next to him on the outside. Alex Bertignoli coming back into Spec Miata after missing many races this year, but he is one of the fastest guys on the property for sure. There's no doubt about that. So him in the third row is going to be a situation. He's got Matt Alexander right next to him, a multi-time class champion here at Autobahn. That's Bernardi and Collins on the fourth row, and that's a big deal. Brandon Collins all the way back on the fourth row, but he is on the inside. I don't expect Bernardi to be able to push him around too much. I think that Collins will follow Alexander and get himself to Gleitzman pretty quickly. Another big surprise is Jake Malter, who is back down in P9. I know that he would love to have another shot at a qualifying lap. Another really quick guy here that usually finds himself near that top 5 right now qualifies P9. He's next to Scott Bowman.
A nice warm day, very unusual for this time of the year. We're about 15 degrees warmer than most of these guys are used to seeing at this time of the year, and that is certainly going to come into play with track conditions.
I think so too, and tires. We're going on board right now with Bob Reisinger. He's going to be our single and only in-car camera today. We did have an in-car camera in Thomas Greenwood's car. It looks like he had an incident in qualifying where he might have backed the car into a wall and had some damage there. He's not going to be able to make this race, but he was our other in-car camera, and so we will just have the single offering for you this afternoon, and it's going to be a doozy because I think that's a busy cockpit over there in Reisinger's car. Some hand-over-hand type stuff, some gesturing. Maybe you'll hear some audio. I'm not even really sure, but it's definitely going to be a pleasure for viewership this afternoon to watch what goes on in the cockpit of the Reisinger SM2.
Bob seems to be a magnet for action out there on the track, so it'll be interesting to see that in-car camera throughout the day.
I think so too. You see Connor Willis racing over there on his dashboard. That used to be Connor Willis's race car. Bob picked it up off of him in his first year here at Autobahn, and that has proven to be a very fast race car driven by a very fast youngster who is doing most of his racing at this point in the UK. So Connor Willis Racing representing here in race number 12, the 2025 Spec Miata Series. His car is carrying on well, I don't know if I would say it's carrying on his legacy. It's racing. But the difference in driving between Reisinger and Willis are something. In fact, Willis is a coach for Bob Reisinger. So it's a tight crew right there, those guys, and it'll be a great pleasure to have that camera shot on board as we make our way around turn 10 and down the back straight. Top 10 in Spec Miata 2. What were you going to say, Dennis?
No, I'm saying we're going to see some great pictures out on the track today. And don't be surprised to see quite a car show going on over on the sidelines
I did
today.
See that on the way up the Mustang, the Vintage Mustang Club here at Autobahn today.
Incredible collection of Mustangs out here on the grounds today.
Eli Dessart, we talked about him. He is leading the championship without too much trouble, but look right next to him on the outside, that's Sean Benet. He hasn't done that many races, Sean, and when he does enter this class, he's pretty darn quick, so we got to watch out for Sean Benet right there on the front row. Bob Reisinger follows the number 1 car on the second row. Bob's going to need to freight train himself past Sean Benet. He doesn't want to get into too much battling with Benet. He's not in a championship with him. He's really trying to hold off Eamon Ryan, who is next to him on the outside. Jeff Newman on the third row. You got Mark Stadolski next to him. Dave Young and Noel Sachs pick up the fourth row, and Randy Cochran and Thomas London pick up the fifth row. And that's your Spec Miata 2 top 10.
Altogether, we'll have 36 cars in this race with the scratch of Greenwood, with both of the classes being scored separately, but it'll be an interesting race. If we do stay green for a long time, it is going to get rather complicated out there for some of the drivers navigating those slower vehicles as they drop back through the pack from the spec class.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that tires are going to make a big deal today, and in terms of the order and the running times, and basically the top 10 in qualifying. This might be a function of tires. Who's got new tires today? There's only 3 races left, right? So who's got new tires today, and who is using maybe a used set? Because on these really warm days, the difference between a brand new set and maybe a scrub set is not super dramatic. They might want to save that one last new set, these drivers, until races 13 and 14, deeper into October, when the temperatures cool off around here and new tires do actually make an appreciable difference here. So that will be an interesting point, Dennis, is to see how these guys play out and on what tires they're running for this race. A bunch of cool stuff happening here in terms of returns to the series. Kevin Ballard making his return to Spec Miata after missing quite a bit of the summer. He is starting at the back of that field, serving a penalty that he received in his last race where he took a green flag. So good to see him back in the lineup. And again, we do have battles up and down the field, and one of the ones I'm really excited about is that Spec Miata Masters battle between Tom Bagley and Art Zeismer. These guys are only 10 points apart. There's only 2 people involved in that race, so it's very, very close, but that is going to be one to watch. As the field kind of collects itself, organizes, heading in toward turn 11, we're going to take a green flag here and go racing shortly. I am very excited. All right, led by Sam Bowman, the Spec Miata field is looking to take the penultimate turn before the green flag. The Lexus pace car peels off the racetrack, and the field is now being led by Bowman, and he will get this race going. Spec Miata 2 queuing up back there at turn 11 as well. Waiting for the green flag, and we've got it. We're racing. Sam Bowman on the inside. It looks like Gavin with a quick start to the inside, and now Taro Kishida has taken over that P1 position from the front row, and Gavin Gleitzman's moved himself up into P2. Matt Alexander is battling in P3 and P4. As we are looking to take a green flag here in Spec Miata 2, we're on board with Reisinger. We've got the green flag. Reisinger following straight behind. He's missed a shift. He just missed a shift there, and cars have gone by. His main competitor there, Eamon Ryan, has blasted by on the outside, and Bob will now have to slot back into P5. Not an ideal start for him.
But it'll give us a lot more great racing action from the in-car here as he works his way back to the front.
Absolutely. Back up front in Spec Miata. That's Taro Kishida heading in toward the Patience Complex. Right behind him, Gavin Gleitzman sitting P2 in the championship. Sam Bowman hot on the tail of Gleitzman, the 15-year-old. And that is a high school battle going on right there, P2 and 3.
Gleitzman made that real aggressive but clean move to the inside. Now he'll take a peek inside down the long back stretch.
Wow. Gleitzman looks to the inside, makes Kishida go to the outside. Man, is that Gleitzman car fast down the straight. Wow, very impressive, and he is giving Kishida all that he can handle. He's pushing him through 13 now. And again, here comes the power of that 51 car. That cannot be ignored, how fast that car is. Gets right up close to Kishida. Kishida on the outside. Gleitzman has the position on the inside, being pushed by Sam Bowman on the inside line. Something's going to give here, heading in toward turn 3. The left-hander, Taro Kishida, does not give it up. And they go side by side through 3. They're heading into 4 side by side. Gleitzman on the outside looks like he has the position. Bowman looks like he's also bidding to go around Kushida.
Great to see Sam Bowman tuck in there behind Kushida, and then he got the run on him as well.
And there goes the 51 car. That's a fast car, guys. That is a pretty fast car, and he is starting to gap P2 here in just a couple of corners. And we'll see how fast that car is as it heads down the back straight after he gets through 10. That's Brandon Collins, who's moved up as well. He's found himself up in P4.
Yes, Gleitzman put that move on Kushida. Kushida had to worry about Bowman in 3rd, and that allowed Gleitzman to get a nice little 2-3 car length gap.
Well, Bowman's not done worrying yet because he's got Collins right on his back bumper as they head in toward turn 11. And the left-hander at 12, and line astern for these top 4.
Coming back to the start-finish line to end the 2nd lap. Kevin Gleitzman out top. Taro Kushida in 2nd, Bowman in 3rd, but Brandon Collins hot on his tail in 4th. Matt Keck rounds out your top 5.
Matt Keck's got a little bit of battle happening behind him. Looks like Alex Bertignoli, he's going to need to hold off for a little bit.
So I love about this Miata class, Mike. You have these little duels all through the pack, all race long.
Back on board with Reisinger. He's behind Eamon Ryan. That's one of his competitors anyways. He would like to finish in front of Eamon Ryan for this championship, and he's got some work to do, it looks like. So Reisinger trying to settle in here and start knocking out laps in this 18-lap outing, and yeah, looks like he's got about 6-7 car lengths between him and his nearest competitor, Eamon Ryan, in front of him.
It's Dysart, Benet, Ryan, Reisinger in SM2, your top 4. Meanwhile, up front, Gleitzman continues to lead in the Spec Miata class.
Just checking lap times real quick. Gavin just put down a 39.2. How does that compare with qualifying? The qualifying time 37.4 by Sam Bowman. Frankly, most of the top 6-7 guys were in the 37s, high to mid 37s. Again, warm day out here in Chicago, nearly 80 degrees, probably 75 to 80 degrees here. So you're not going to be seeing record-breaking lap times, especially as we settle into the race here.
It'll be interesting, Mike, to see how these lap times fall off as those tires get hot as well.
Indeed, back on board with Reisinger, trying to keep sight of the 3 cars in front of him. We're currently running P4. Bob would love to change positions with just that 1 car in front of him. That is going to be his goal through the next 15 laps or so. Eamon Ryan coming in from college to participate in this one. Fly in for the weekend. Gavin Gleitzman back out front in the Spec Miata class, and look at P2, 3, and 4, where you've got 3 excellent guys going at it with Kushida, Bowman, Collins, and then right behind them you've got Keck, Bertignoli. Gleitzman's going nowhere. I mean, he's certainly leading properly and with a tiny bit of margin, but that margin will evaporate very, very quickly. Any little mistake into any of these major braking points, and we could see a shuffle.
Top 6 nose to tail, then a few lengths gap, and another freight train of 3 cars together. So great racing throughout the pack here.
Yeah, it looks like that battle between 8 and 9. Looks like Malter and Alexander. That's a classic one.
Kushida took a peek inside, but Gleitzman holds him off into 1.
Yeah, well, Matt Alexander did take a peek inside and is giving Malter all that he can handle. Look at him going side by side. Not quite through turn 3. Alexander backs off there, knows there's Not much to be gained into turn 3, that left-hander, and this high-speed left-hander at turn 4 also. We do have a car off behind the barrier at turn number 10.
Looks like the 101 of Kevin Ballard.
That's a bummer. It's good to see Ballard back in the race. This is his first outing in many Autobahn Spec Miata races that he's missed over the summer, so it's kind of a bit of a return for him. Look at the blocking maneuver being handled by Kushida. Looking at Sam Bowman, thought that Bowman might have a run, heading down in turn 8. Kushida not illegally blocking, definitely just picking his line toward the inside of the turn. Nothing wrong with that. That's part of the challenge of getting around cars here in Spec Miata. You've got to have not just a proper run, but a really proper run to make it happen. Here's Bowman heading in toward turn 11. It looks like he's just a little too far back to make that happen. He slots back into third.
And he lost about 2 car lengths there trying to make that aggressive move, and fourth place Brandon Collins closes in.
The field comes around, the start-finish. Gavin did a 38.5 that time around. He's got a few car lengths between him and his second-place rival there, Taro Kushida, in P2.
4 laps in and only a half-second lead. This is going to be a tight one.
Reisinger coming around the last corner toward the member clubhouse and across the start-finish straight, and he remains in P4.
Losing a little bit of ground to P3 there, Eamon Ryan, but still lurking in fourth place.
I love the Malter-Alexander battle. That is a tight battle for the overall P4 position in the championship, but it doesn't just include those guys, Dennis. It also includes Josh Dale, Scott Ballard, Mike Ryan, Ethan Tyler. This guy that's in P2 or 3, Sam Bowman, also in that mix for overall P4. So definitely keep an eye on Malter and Alexander today as we go back on board with Reisinger.
And they're currently battling it for 8th place out on the track here.
Look like one car gets wide. That's Taro Kushida that goes off. Brandon Collins now takes over P3. Sam Bowman in P2. Kushida is off and not going again. It looks like he's trying to get it sorted out. He does get it back into gear. Let's see if his car is race-worthy or if he pulls off here. Big moment in Spec Miata.
And he'll
down the inside. Is that Collins trying to take over P2? It is. Exactly what Brandon Collins needed. He needed to be on the rear bumper to Gavin Gleitzman. He's got it going on right now. Drama on lap 5.
I think Kushida was able to keep it going, but he'll fall back in line all the way in 13th spot.
Big gap now. Gleitzman to Collins because of the commotion and the last lap at turn 11.
These are such momentum cars. If you have to let off the gas to avoid an incident, boy, you could really lose a lot of time out on that racetrack.
Good battle happening right there as well. That's Kevin Lockridge. He is battling around. Looks like Bowman is his competitor there. And so those guys are running a nice little battle a bit further back in the field. Just taking a quick peek out. Lockridge is show his car, put his car in the mirrors of his competitor in front of him. And Scott Bowman doing a job to hold off Lockridge for the moment. Gavin Gleitzman maintains his lead. And Brandon Collins right behind in P2. P3, Sam Bowman.
7 laps on the board. Gleitzman led by just under a second. at the wire. Brandon Collins, Sam Bowman, Matt Keck, Alex Bertagnoli, rounding out your top 5.
On board Reisinger as he gets back toward the start-finish straight in his first turn in toward turn 1. Gets it a little bit loose. Nicely collects. And he's making that high-speed left-hander sweeper through turn 3 and approaching turn 4 here. And he remains in P4.
And right behind him, Connor Ryan, who started shotgun on the field, has caught up to 5th place in that SM2 class. He's about a second and a half behind, about 3 seconds behind Bob Reisinger, but he's going to get larger in Bob's mirror here over the next couple of laps.
Looks like somebody's gone off there, a little bit of a dust cloud, and it looks like a slow-moving car through 5. Let's see if we can collect the details here. Is that Taro again?
It might have been.
Tough to say from that angle, but we'll follow that. That was Dvorak, was it?
That was Dvorak in the 39.
Jim Dvorak making his Spec Miata a return after not participating in a few races. He's been a GT guy for the last couple of years, and this time around he's out there in a Spec Miata. Jim Dvorak. Back on board Reisinger as he tries to catch Ryan in front of him, but it's not working out at the moment. Reisinger is going to really benefit from maybe a full course caution of some sort. Again, very loose heading through 1. Not super smooth through that turn, but we'll keep an eye. Cars parading through 13, 12 and 13 here on the South Circuit.
Field will see the cross flags this time by.
That gap is starting to shrink between Gavin Gleitzman and Brandon Collins. Those are your top competitors in the points championship there, and those are the guys that are going at it on track. Looks like Bernardi side by side through turn 12, having a bit of a handful of a situation to deal with here on a Sunday afternoon. Side by side again with Bernardi. Bertagnoli giving him everything that he can handle. You see Sam Bowman coming out in P3 and Brandon Collins giving Gavin Gleitzman all of it. The gap is gone. So basically, nose to tail.
Gleitzman and Collins had started 3rd and 8th respectively. It didn't take them long to find each other.
For the cream to rise of the crop, didn't it? Yep. Typically happens in racing, doesn't it? Looks like more side-by-side action as we get down toward turn 4 and 5. Gleitzman and Collins now are all over each other. Wow.
Collins right on the back bumper of Gleitzman instead of he's just waiting for Gavin to make one small mistake. He's going to pounce.
Oh, he's pushing him. He's pushing him through turn 8. Bernardi wide again. Running around in P5, maybe P6 it is. And he's off, Bernardi. He goes behind the corner station there at turn 10, and hopefully he will be able to make it back onto the surface. It looks like he does. You see him slow. He was the car on the right side of the screen. And there's your main battle, Gleitzman and Collins.
They've got a nice separation from 3rd place Sam Bowman, Matt Keck in 4th, and Bertagnoli still running 5th.
That drops Bernardi back a couple of positions. Veteran, always a quick driver in a Spec Miata for sure. Mike Bernardi. He's been around here for 20 years with high success in just about anything he drives. But yeah, the class that I think of Bernardi in is Spec Miata is for sure. And He's a very competent driver in that regard. Reisinger, it's not getting any better in the windshield for Reisinger. He'd love for that gap to close up between him and Eamon Ryan in front of him. Again, very, very loose on turn in to turn one. It looks like Bob's having to work pretty hard to keep that car collected.
If we had a little different angle, we would probably see Connor Ryan getting a little larger in the rearview mirrors.
I think you're right about that. Bob navigating through turn 5. And the rest of the Spec Miata field in front of him is making their way through 8, 9, and 10. There's Gavin. There's Brandon.
Field is getting very strung out, but not those first two. They are nose to tail.
Really, really enjoyable to watch these guys race. Very respectful toward each other, for the most part, and so that is that makes viewing of this sort of competition really, really fun. Just to see who can legally do it best, who can navigate these 13 corners.
But Collins right in the tire tracks at Gleitzman, following him every step of the way.
A little bit of an off there at the exit of 5. Wisely waiting to safely re-enter the track. And side by side, nearly as we go up through turn 7, not quite, but Brandon peeking out and making Gavin think about it for sure. Oh, he's following him around like a shadow.
He is just ready to pounce. Every once in a while, he kind of ducks that nose out into the clean air and gives Gavin something to think about.
In the overall scheme of things, this is really kind of how it's supposed to play out. Gavin he basically needs to win out. He needs 3 wins to really push this championship into, a tight situation. Anything less than a win by Gavin, if there's a win by Brandon or even a P2 by Brandon, really, really starts to get this championship into an awkward spot where Brandon's going to have the advantage here. So yeah, these two running right next to each other is definitely part of the script and needs to happen. So this is a fascinating battle you're seeing take place right in front of you. You got some traffic. I suspect that traffic will respectfully move out of the way. Collins is going to need to freight train with, and he does. He does. That traffic moves out of the way and lets the leaders of the Spec Miata class pass through without too much drama. Collins to the inside. Collins to the inside at turn 7. Turn 6, rather, as they go down toward turn 7. Gavin Gleitzman is going to race him down toward turn 8. Gavin stays tucked in, and we have a new leader, folks. Brandon Collins leading race number 12 in the 2025 Spec Miata Championship.
He just wore him down, and finally he got his opportunity to pounce.
Brandon Collins, he's so consistent. He's just, I don't know that he's faster, better, than worse than any of the other really fast guys here. He's just so consistent. He doesn't make that many mistakes, hardly any at all. And now his driving here in the first half of the race has put him back into the lead. Well, for the first time, I shouldn't say back into the lead, but given him his first lead. And so now he will settle in and try to defend his position. But again, Gavin, with a very fast car in the straights, already looking to the inside of Collins here at turn 1. Brandon turns in first, has the position. Gavin's right there and powers through into turn 2 and another lead change. Back to Gavin Gleitzman.
Collins could not get down into this best line there with Gleitzman kind of hounding him, and that's all it took to get that lead to change back again. But I don't think it's over. He's coming back.
It's not. This is a great battle between these two. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how Gavin passed there, where he got the power to power through turn 2. That was great. He might be on a new set of tires. He just had what looked like obviously a little bit more grip on the throttle there out of turn 1 into turn 2. And he has earned himself the race lead after losing it for about a half lap or so. But his rival there in P2, Brandon, is going nowhere. He is absolutely right on his tail. And what a battle we have in this race.
It's just going to take one small mistake, and we're going to see that lead flop back in to the hands of Collins again.
Most important thing for Gavin here, obviously driving that driving line and keeping this thing on the pavement a little bit wide here, a little bit narrow here, whatever. It really, with these Miatas, anything into the dirt is going to cause you trouble. So if Gavin can keep this thing on the pavement, it looks like he has a very fast car. We do have a waving yellow flag into the last turn here. A car is into, that looks like Matt Keck. Car is into the tire barrier here at turn 13, and unless Matt can get that going, we may be looking at our first full course caution. We are still green on the racetrack for the moment. We're back on board with Reisinger as he heads through what is going to be this accident scene here at turn 13 shortly. That's Eamon Ryan in front of him as Bob makes the right turn just off. It's blown out here because of the exposure, but you saw Matt Keck up against the wall there. Bob dealing with a very loose car through turn 13 as well. Let's watch him as he goes through turn 1. And same situation, having to make little minor corrections as he throws turning input into his Miata there on the entry to 1. And so it is probably keeping him, that particular handling thing, behind Eamon. But Eamon's waving his arms now, trying to say full course caution. I'm not seeing that on our graphic yet. We have not seen that at any point yet, but Eamon Ryan, and now we just saw it on the board there. We did see as we passed by turn 5, it looks like we are full course caution. So Ryan was waving his arms up to Reisinger saying, hey man, stop racing me. Stop racing me. We're full course caution. And so, yeah, been in that position many times myself. You know, running around and the person following you looks like they're still racing you into a full course caution. And you're like, dude, chill, we're full course. So here we are, race reset, full course yellow. Gavin Gleitzman in the lead, Brandon Collins in second, Sam Bowman in third. And the drama for this afternoon is really starting to heat up. The Lexus safety car collects the field properly with Gavin leading the charge here, and they will work to collect Matt Keck out of turn 13. I'll tell you, lap time wise, it's kind of going over the last couple of laps here, and the top guys, Gavin, anyways, is in the 37s. No, let's call it 38.4 for his last one, whereas Brandon Collins was a 38 flat. And right behind him, Sam Bowman, he did a 38.3, and that would be his fastest lap of the race. Brandon Collins' 38 flat is not even his fastest lap, so Collins is very quick out there. He's obviously behind somebody who is just as quick, if not a tiny bit quicker, in Gavin Gleitzman. So that's your main storyline right there, and these two guys are battling for this championship. So if it were to finish just as you see it right now, the championship goes on. Brandon does need a P2 somewhere along these lines, but he could also use a win to kind of really put this thing on ice, or however you want to describe it. It would really help Brandon to get another quality result, but a P2 is among the results that he does need over these next 3 races. So Brandon is not by any means in a bad position right now. He can finish the race just like this, and that is part of the plan. It's fine. If Gavin wins, that's fine. That's what he needs to do. Gavin will need to pick up a couple more wins in races 13 and 14 to really solidify his situation. If Brandon picks up one of those wins, it really makes it hard for Gavin to come back, because that's a win that Gavin can't have. That's a maximum points of 100 that Gavin can't have if Brandon picks up those 100 points. And so it really tightens up. You got to game out some of these scenarios on paper and, some probability just to kind of see where these guys where you think they might land up, or rather end up. So it's a bit of speculation for the time being, Dennis.
I love the format, though, because, hey, life gets busy. You might miss a couple of races, or you might have just a bad race, or the car might not be ready to go a particular week. It gives you a chance to even things up a little bit. And rather than have dumb luck decide a championship, it's driver skill at the end of the day.
I agree with that strategy in the way that they do it, because you're absolutely right. It's really tough to make a 14-race calendar. Most of the people around here have family, kids, other engagements, and so in the country club environment, they make it a little bit easy for you with 14 possible races that you can participate in. You can participate in all of them, but they're only going to count your 10 best results toward the championship. And now that we're in race number 12, you're starting to see some of those drops take place. And so sometimes looking at the scoreboard isn't the most obvious way to determine what is happening in the championship. As we see Matt Keck get winched out of the way and out of the tires so that we can get back to some green flag racing here on the south track. Very busy on the north track as well, though. They just had an incident outside of our commentary box window where they needed to recover a motorcycle. It's a motorcycle day on the north track with large levels of participation on that facility. And so one of the trucks was down there recovering a motorcycle. Here is truck number 2 recovering Matt. And hopefully they've determined, you can see Matt walking around, he's fine. Looks like he's took a majority of that impact on the left rear part of his Miata. So he's walking around okay. We are still full course yellow at the moment. I cannot completely tell.
2 laps. There'll be 2 laps to go this time by.
2 laps to go this time by. Hopefully we're going green here. I can't tell if the lights are on that safety car, if we're going to go green right here. So stand by. We may be racing here shortly. Looks like the safety car is going nice and slow just to give those guys an extra few seconds to make it safe so that we can go back to green.
Gavin Gleitzman, Brandon Collins, Sam Bowman, Matt Alexander, Alex Bertagnoli, your top 5 in the Spec Miata class in SM2.
We're going back racing.
Eli Dysart leading the way with Eamon Ryan and Bob Reisinger.
2 to go. Gavin Gleitzman takes green, and we're back racing here on the south track. That's Collins on the inside.
Green and
he got himself a run. Collins got a run on the inside, and it looks like he's fixing to take over P1. And he just barely doesn't do it, does he? Side by side.
Side by side.
Turn 4. Keep it on the track, boys.
Sam Bowman sitting there in 3rd place. Saying,
he's getting ready to pick up the pieces, isn't he, Sam Bowman?
I'm ready.
Gavin slots back into P1. And here comes Brandon to dive down in toward the apex of turn 6.
And this is our final lap, Mike. So this is for
we saw the white flag here. Brandon Collins on the inside's got to deal with Sam Bowman. He is going to run the defensive line here to keep Sam Bowman out of it. He takes the lead. If just for a second, and Gavin Gleitzman spins.
And
Brandon Collins keeps going. Gleitzman back around. He's back on track. It looks like Collins is back down in P8. The lead has been handed to Sam Bowman.
Sam Bowman on top, Matt Alexander right on his tail.
Matt Alexander in P2 as they head down the back straight toward turn 11. We saw the white flag. This should be it. We should be seeing checkers here in 3 more corners.
Sam Bowman's going to need a couple of good final corners to hold off Matt Alexander, who's hot on his tail.
And it looks like he's got it. Sam Bowman taking the checkered flag in race number 12 of the 2025 Spec Miata Championship. Incredible drama. Back on board with Reisinger. What's he got heading in toward turn 13 and looking for the checkered flag? Nothing doing for Bob, but wow, the drama was deep. Ooh-wee.
What an exciting finish, and that was Sam Bowman taking the checkered flag. That was Alex Bertagnoli that snuck into P2 on us. Matt Alexander finishes third. Jake Malter in fourth, and Mike Bernardi rounding out your top 5 in that Spec Miata class. In SM2, Eli Dysart again coming through with the big win. Eamon Ryan in second.
Where'd Gavin finish? Oh, wow.
Gavin all the way back to 11.
So the end result is Brandon Collins in P9, Gavin in P11.
Wow.
And that, for our lead storyline, that will not do for Gavin Gleitzman. That, without really having the numbers totally right in front of you, that is going to make it very, very, very difficult for Gavin to take this championship to the next couple of races. I don't want to say it's over yet, but that is not looking great. Sam Bowman takes another win. Well, his first win. Let's say that. Sam Bowman, his first pole and his first win in Spec Miata. What a day for the Bowman family. With Scott Bowman finishing dad back in P6 with a nice run for both of those chaps. Real heavy congratulations towards Sam Bowman. What a beautiful Sunday for him again. Fastest lap in quali, takes the pole, ends up taking the win in a drama-filled last lap. My apologies to Alex Bertagnoli, who I did not recognize was right on the tail of Sam Bowman, giving him everything he needed to handle as the last couple of corners. And Alex takes a well-deserved podium there in P2. Eli Dysart, another W for this kid. What's that, 6 in a row? And 7 of 8? Eamon Ryan, P2. Connor Ryan, his brother, P3. And Bob Reisinger finishes this one off. He was our onboard guy in P4. So a little bit complicated there. Reisinger didn't get exactly what he was hoping for out of that race. Eamon Ryan got basically what he was hoping for out of that race. Stadolski and Newman finish in 5th and 6th. Noel Sachs, Jean Jodoin, Dave Young, and Randy Cochran round out your Spec Miata 2 top 10.
What an exciting race. And Sam Bowman was just sitting there in third place beyond those battling, it was wild because we saw Collins and Gleitzman come up through the field, go out to first and second, swap positions, but Sam Bowman never let them get away. He was always just a couple of car lengths behind. And when they tangled, he was there to pick up the pieces. And
he knew that was coming. Or if he didn't know that was coming, he should have known that the possibility existed. Samuel Bowman, for sure. After a tough summer, it sounds like Samuel hurt his shoulder playing hockey and wasn't around most of these races throughout the summer. I would have loved to seen Samuel Bowman kind of mixing it up with Gleitzman and with Collins, but we were just treated to what that young chap is capable of: a pole position and a win and great patience, like you just said, Dennis, throughout this race. And just to sit there in P3 and wait till the house of cards came down.
We have a nice group of talented drivers in that Spec Miata class. They could put on a show.
I'd say you're right about that. Well, that was a really fun one, folks. Thanks for joining us for that. But stick with us, because as you see in the pit lane, we've got cars with downforce starting to populate pit lane. We're going to take a quick break here, show you some commercials, but the live streaming is not done. Keep it here. You're at Audubon Country Club.
We're here at the acclaimed Daytona International Speedway to show the Blazer EVSS in a way it's never been seen. It's beautiful with a sleek and dynamic design, but performance is in our DNA. And what better way to put the Blazer EVSS to the paces than having Team Chevy NASCAR drivers Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain get behind the wheel.
She looks fast.
Sure does.
You want to see what she's got?
Let's go.
All right. Yoo!
This is a Blazer EVSS. Let's see what Wild Mode can do.
Let's go. Yes! So much torque.
This is what performance sounds like.
What a ride. You think the Cup car will be that smooth? My turn to drive.
From 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. Experience the sound of performance.
Yeah, I was definitely faster than Daniel.
Lexus. Our motto is you have to feel it to believe it. Experience the exhilaration of the Lexus Performance line.
Hey there, welcome to Audubon Race House. Did you know that race house rooms are available for members and guests to rent? with 3 bedrooms with ensuite bathrooms, a common area with a pool table and poker table. Whether you're kicking back on the patio or sitting at the bar, Audubon Race House has everything you need to extend your time at the club. For more information or to make your reservation, contact Karen at AudubonCC.com.
Define nature. It's what defines the all-new 2024 Corvette E-Ray. The quickest Corvette ever, with 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. An electrified all-wheel drive that handles all 4 seasons. A supercar of contrasts. It's everything you never expected. One like none.
3, 2, 1.
Lexus. Our motto is you have to feel it to believe it. Experience the exhilaration of the Lexus Performance line.
We're here at the acclaimed Daytona International Speedway to show the Blazer EVSS in a way it's never been seen. It's beautiful with a sleek and dynamic design, but performance is in our DNA. And what better way to put the Blazer EVSS to the paces than having Team Chevy NASCAR drivers Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain get behind the wheel.
She looks fast.
Sure does.
You want to see what she's got?
Let's go.
All right. Yoo-hoo!
This is a Blazer EVSS. Let's see what Wild Mode can do.
Let's go. Yes! So much torque.
This is what performance sounds like.
What a ride. You think the Cup car will be that smooth? My turn to drive.
From 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. Experience the sound of performance.
Yeah, I was definitely faster than Daniel.
Welcome back to the live stream. Mike Anzaldi and Dennis Michelson here with you on a beautiful autumn Sunday afternoon. Dennis, the weather is perfect for this next Wings and Things and Radical race.
This is the wonderful thing about weather in the Chicagoland area in late September. It's either going to be really wonderful or you're going to be wondering why you didn't head down to Florida earlier. It is amazing how that works. But today, absolutely picture perfect day.
Totally right about that. Could go either way with the weather around here, but today, low humidity, upper 70s, lower 80s, bright sunshine, and just a perfect day. You can see the umbrellas out on pit lane for the cars, the open wheel cars, Radicals, Pro Formula Mazdas, a couple of F3s. This is always an exciting gathering of machinery on our South Track. Again, we're on the 2.1 mile South Circuit. If you've been with us for the last 40 minutes or so, you watched a thrilling Spec Miata and Spec Miata 2 competition. That was race number 12 of their 14 race calendar. And now we've got downforce cars, so very exciting. And some of the sexiest cars we have on the property are the ones with wings, the ones that are making downforce in the corners, and we get to see them go racing today.
These Radicals are such a perfect car to introduce you to open wheel racing as a driver. It really still, while they have downforce, it still puts a lot into the driver's ability. These cars handle well until they don't. When your tires start going away, they get to be a beast to drive, but they're fun to watch, and they always put on a great show out here. And I think this is the perfect size track for these Radicals as well.
South Track is a great circuit for that chassis. I've been driving Radicals for a few years now, and I agree with everything you're saying. They're a very enjoyable car to drive, relatively simple to pop into a Radical and start to learn to go quick. Those last second or a few tenths or whatever makes it a little bit more complicated, but Radicals, as a general rule, are somewhat simple to drive. You know, some people say they understeer a lot and provide a lot of confidence for a driver. So some of the other ones though, F3 car, Pro Formula Mazda, those ones like to rotate. So those can spin just like you said on a dime, and you've got traction and now you don't. And all of a sudden it's snap, spun, put you into the grass, and you're wondering, all right, that didn't quite work out. But that's partly what makes these cars exciting and fun to drive, is the possibility that, I don't know, you could go spinning off into the prairie and have to collect it. But yeah.
Had an instructor for Radicals once explain, while I was kind of peeking in on a class, he said, this car does reward you if you're really good in the corner, but it punishes you if you miss your corner. It's such a rhythm car to get to know how to drive quick in these things. I think really does develop your skills as a driver, and it's relatively inexpensive to run one of these Radicals.
I agree with most of that. We'll talk about the money later, but
relatively. You notice I use the word relatively.
To other open wheel cars, you are 100% correct. They are very reasonable to run. But as somebody who's dabbled a little bit with downforce stuff, there's really nothing that's all that affordable out there that goes this quick. But that all being said, you're totally right about the Radical's ability to enter a corner. It can enter at very high speed, and so it's that corner entry speed that amateurs that are coming out of sports cars that hop into a downforce car sometimes have a little bit of a handful getting used to, is the entry speed that this car is capable of. And that's where you see the difference between the kids and the drivers that are really competent and the ones that are average. You know, it's that corner entry speed. But
That allows you as a driver in a race like this today to make a good move on somebody. If you're aggressive, you can make it stick.
Absolutely. If you've got a good handle on how your car feels on corner entry after you're off the brakes and you turn in toward the apex, if your car is feeling pretty good and you're feeling pretty good, you make up a lot of time on your competitors there. That's usually where the action takes place in Radicals, is on the brakes and just off the brakes. And so, yeah, well said by you. It's in race conditions, that's kind of where the drama takes place, is as soon as you get off the throttle and you start searching for that brake pedal, it separates the competent from the incompetent pretty quickly.
We're getting such a great drone look at this track again today on a perfect day. It really gives you a feel for how to drive this track when you see those shots from the drone.
Love to be able to see the lines, the racing lines, as they kind of reflect the sun, the polished part of the track. Yeah, I agree with you. It's really fun to see these drone shots, and we didn't mention enough of it in our first race, but thank you to our drone operator, Josh, this time around. He's just giving us really incredible pictures here as we look at the top 5 here in Radical and Wings and Things. The F3 car, driven by Chris DeMuso, is taking the pole position for this particular race. On his outside in a Radical, you got John Zhu. Charlie Morale, the young man in a Pro Formula Mazda, is going to be on the inside of the second row, where you got Benny Blander on the outside in his Radical. Alone Kim leads what little of a championship we have going on in Radicals this season, and Alone Kim will start on the third row there on the inside, right behind Charlie Morale.
I like that we've got 11 cars in this battle. A little bit bigger field than the last time we saw Wings and Things live stream here on the Autobahn YouTube channel. It's going to put on a good show for the fans today.
I agree with that. Further down the grid, we got Wen Li Zhao. He's also on the third row. Kevin Lockridge is in his Radical number 61 car. You also got Charles Mahar driving around in his Pro Formula Mazda. He qualified at a 23.7. Jerry Liu, John Mikulski, and Bob Perry out in his Pro Formula Mazda. To start this one, and again, a beautiful Sunday afternoon out at the Autobahn. So we've done our second exploratory lap, and the Lexus safety car is going to peel off into the south pit lane, and we're going to go racing here in just a moment.
Explain the mismatch of speed between these Radicals and the other downforce cars here. There is a big disparity, but the driver disparity sort of evens that out in some cases as well.
Look at us going almost nearly 3 wide as we head toward the first corner, and it looks like a position change is going to take place right away. Looks like John Zhu is falling well back. He was on the front row, and now we've got a spin out of turn 3 and up against the wall. That looks like Perry. Unless that's Mahar. Is that Charles Mahar? Looks like a little bit of coming together where the tires weren't quite at the proper temperature. That's Morale. I've gotten it all wrong here, all backed up for Hansaldi here trying to get the names right, as I haven't seen too many of these cars out here, but it looks like the lead of this race has been taken over by Ben Blander. I don't know when that happened. I don't know if we are still full green here. It looks like we are. Blander, as he heads in toward turn 11, is going to start to gap the field, and it looks like Morale's got that car going. Let's hope that he can make that thing back around toward pit lane. Ben Blander with a big gap now and a lead as we come in through turn 11 and we start to finish up the first lap of 18 here in our Wings and Things race. Ben Blander, a national racer in the Radical Cup of North America. This is a experienced driver and a quick one to be sure. No doubt about that. One of the fastest guys in downforce cars here at the property, and he's got loads of them, from Formula One cars to Wolfs to Radicals, and he's quick in all of them.
And quickly out to over a second lead, a 1.4 second lead as they took the that first lap. Chris DeMuzio is in second, but first in class in the Wings and Things. And then John Sue, along Kim and Kevin Lockridge, round out your top 5 overall.
And you're going to see how these cars kind of spread out. That is really how these cars run. Even at the national level, whether you're in the Radical Cup or you're in the F3 Series and SCCA or whatever, they do tend to spread out a little bit. They like clean air. So you won't see these run right next to each other quite like we saw a few minutes ago with the Spec Miatas. You will generally see a little bit more space between these cars, and Blander is out to a proper lead as he approaches turn 13 here and starts his third lap. I would love to have seen how that took place though, because the F3 car of DeMuzio was in the lead here, and it did not look like Benny Blander was anywhere near being able to take that lead. I was distracted looking at the car going off into 3, and before you know it, Blander either makes the pass through turn 4 or 5, and we have a lead change. So,
and he continues to be very quick out front, 1:23.2 in that second lap. Took a couple of seconds off that first lap.
Sure did. Takes a little while anyways for the Radical tires to come in. So that 23 is pretty soon going to be a 21 once that car gets warmed up and once Ben is settled in. Most of these cars should run a race pace. The rest of the Radicals, Ben's better than most of this field. So while he might be running high 21s, low 22s, you might see the rest of the field running high 22s, low 23s.
And we did get to see how that clean air works, because John Zhu got right up on the back end of Chris DeMuzio, but he had to back off a little bit to get some of that clean air on the car. You could see quickly he was losing grip.
That Blander lead change apparently took place right in front of our eyes, and I somehow missed it. He went around the outside at turn 2 and made it stick in toward 3, and well, you're looking at the result of that. And it's a car off.
Along Kim.
The 16 car of Kim is looking beached. Looks like we're going full course yellow. His hands are up on the halo. His visor is tilted in the up position. That is the universal sign for, hey, I'm dead in the water here. You're going to need to send out a recovery vehicle. So we go full course yellow, and the safety car will get out. Ben will bring the field back down under control.
He started 5th. He was running 9th when he went off track.
Lone Kim spends lots of time out here in his Radical. He is one of the guys who is consistently putting in the time, putting in the laps, putting in the effort to try and maximize his ability and his race pace and his qualifying pace there. So, yeah, fun to see him. Looks like he's just made his way out and is back underway. Exits at pit lane. A little bit of a trick in these Radicals. Most of the new Radicals are run by an ECU. They have a computer, and so sometimes to start the car, you have to press a button. It might be in gear. Maybe he spun out. Maybe something happened where the car was still in gear. And then to start the car, you got to press the neutral button and start it and clutch in. And yeah, there's a couple of things that can happen in a race where, I don't know, maybe you forgot. Maybe you forgot to press the button or whatever. But whatever the case may be, Alone got his car back underway. It did not need assistance from the tow truck, but they, of course, had already gone full course yellow. That's going to put the safety car out, even though they probably, maybe, I don't know, didn't need it, but we've gone there. We're there. Safety car's out. Blander leads the field around.
Should be a fairly quick caution here, though.
Absolutely.
With these radicals, Mike, it seems like there's a very narrow tipping point. When you lose it in that corner, it's hard to catch it, hard to make the save sometimes.
The tires don't talk, Dennis, as much as they do in a GT car. And so, yeah, you're right. The difference between the maximum level of grip and exceeding that maximum level of grip by a mile an hour or two happens very, very quickly, and the car can come around, and the tires just don't quite talk the way that some of the other tires do, where they squeal. They don't really do that in downforce cars, and so you don't have that audio warning about, hey, look, I'm right at the edge of what these tires can handle, and sometimes you cross that edge, and like you say, the car just swap ends, and you're off. So, yeah, you got to feel it in other senses. You got to feel it in your butt. You got to feel it in your hands. You got to feel it, just with the rest of your body, but you're not going to hear anything. Benny swerving back and forth there up front in his 1340 XXR Radical, just trying to keep those tires clean, get any sort of debris off of them as we go back racing here. In just a couple of corners, he's going to be asking those tires and those brakes to do quite a bit of work there as he approaches turn 1 and tries to keep that F3 car behind him. So, safety car is going to peel off, and Ben now has control of the field until he sees the green flag, and he's got it. We're back racing. Ben goes well to the outside, keeps it there, the F3 car. Sticks to the inside line, and off he goes into the distance.
13 laps to go, and you got a great illustration of the differences of those two cars. DiMuzio got right up on Ben, but Ben quickly just pulled away as he got a better restart there in through turn 1.
Yeah, and I don't think the F3 car is a great drag racing car, so that first moment of racing from green flag to turn 1 is not going to be a super obvious advantage to that F3 car. The F3 car is faster. In apples to apples hands, if Pro hops in the Radical and then hops in the F3 car, they're probably going to be going a little bit quicker around this circuit in the F3 car. But in this configuration right now, you got a really fast guy in Ben Blander up front in that Radical 1340. A couple hundred horsepower leading this field as they go side by side toward the rear. A little bit of action deeper in the field. That's always a good time, making a pass.
Got a pretty close battle between third and fourth. John Zhu has it. Kevin Lockridge wants it. And it'll just be a matter of can Kevin put those laps together consistently enough to get that little gain on John?
Yeah, and Lockridge is another one of these guys that is really use this club at a high level with multiple different chassis. He was running yesterday in the GT class. He's running earlier today in Miatas. Now he's running again in a Radical. So, yeah, when he comes out, he likes to play. So he's got a bunch of different cars to hop in, and he's no slouch in any of them. So that car right there, the green 61 car, he and I share a number. He's very, very quick around this property, and I have no doubt that this battle will probably start to play out and get a little bit closer as we count down the laps here.
As a driver, how tough is that to get out of a Miata and into an open wheel car? It's got to be a big contrast in driving styles.
That's a fascinating question, and I wish I was the one to ask. I wish I was the expert on that. There are so many people here at the club that do that. I've never really done that. So I just have not carried my own racing program that way. I've generally hopped in one chassis and kind of hung out there. But that's a great question, and it'd be fun to sit down next to Kevin at the bar later on and be like, hey man, tell us what it's like. Like, going from a big GT car with high horsepower and then a low horsepower Miata and then a car with wings. I mean, it's all different driving disciplines.
But a lot of fun, I bet, is what he'll say.
Oh, yeah, you're no doubt about that. Yeah, for sure.
And Ben Blander up front put down a 122.2 that first lap back under green, so he's getting into that rhythm pretty quick.
And a little bit of a look down in toward turn 8. But thinking better of it. Living to fight another day. As they pass through turn 10 and head their way down toward the main straight there and toward turn 11. It looks like that's where this is going to get done. The pass is made. Lockridge streaking through. Wenli Zhao right behind Lockridge. In that car right there, the black and red. Radical from Team Stradale.
We're seeing some pretty quick times up front, and Chris DiMuzio is actually putting in the fastest lap this time around at 1:22.357. He was 0.2 quicker than our leader.
Yeah, and I'm kind of expecting that. You would think we're kind of settled in at this point, but just after going yellow, if we get a couple more laps here, yeah, I can totally see how Chris is going to bring the fight up front to Ben. That is such a cool car. I don't know if you've been up close to those F3 cars or slid in one. It is a really, really neat car.
That's the fun thing about here out at Autobahn. There are a lot of cool cars to see out in the paddock.
Makes you feel like an F1 driver sitting in that one. The halo is just like it is in an F1 car, and yeah.
Cross flags this time by Ben Blander, continuing to lead. Chris DiMuzio, first in the wings and things class and second overall. John Zhu, Kevin Lockridge, and Wenli Zhao round out your top 5.
Halfway through for Ben Blander. And that means that DiMuzio only has 8 or 9 laps to go to get this done. Ben driving consistent laps, including his fastest lap last time by at a 22.1. It's just getting quicker for Blander. But there's DiMuzio. Like this lead's gone. This lead is absolutely gone. And it may happen right here where DiMuzio decides, hey, look, let's take this over. So we'll watch him drag race down the back straight. Looks like he's just going to drive right around him, and indeed, that is the case. There goes that F3 car, and Blander will slot in right behind, but right behind Blander, he's got John Zhu. So this isn't a done deal by any means for Benjamin Blander. He's got some action in his rear view now, and there goes DiMuzio. It's going to look like he's going to gap. It looks like Blander's better on the brakes into turn 1 than DiMuzio in the F3 car. Collects a couple of car lengths there, but now off he goes. Chris down the hill to the big left-hander at turn 4. Zhu is peeking out, showing Ben his pearly whites. Say, hey man, I'm here. I'd like to get involved.
Second and third has gotten a huge lead on fourth place. Kevin Lockridge with Wenli Zhu back in 5th. Jerry Long and Chris Mahar round out your top 7. Bob Perry, John Mikulski in 8th and 9th.
Be interesting to see what's going on with Blander at this point. He's 2.5 seconds off his own pace. That last lap, a high 24. Not sure if he simply wanted DiMuzio and his F3 to go around and get out of here, so we will see in a couple of corners here. We only have one timing loop at Autobahn. We don't have sector loops, so we'll just see when he comes across start-finish what this lap is like for Mr. Blander.
John Zhu has reeled him in, though, for first place among those radicals.
Yeah, and so that lap, DiMuzio puts down his fastest lap of the race at a low 22. Blander does pick up the pace. He takes off a second and a half from his previous lap, but he's still in the high 20, well, low 23s. That's still a second off of his potential pace, so.
And only about 0.8 of a second up on third place John Zhu.
Yeah.
That red car getting a little bigger in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, it'll be a fun interview with Ben just to kind of see, like, hey, what was going on there just after halfway? You know, are you chilling out a little bit so that you can get yourself an interesting, you know, a little bit more drama-filled battle with a car in your own class, or was there something that was taking pace off of his drive? But you can see the gap now is really starting to.
So when these radicals get in the wake of those higher downforce cars with the F3, does that really kind of mess up the air on the front of the radical pretty bad?
Yeah, you know where you will find, as a radical driver, you will find the downforce go away in the corners. And the front end of the car gives way pretty quickly if you're riding under the back wing of any sort of downforce car in front of you. So, yeah, you will certainly see a difference there. The radicals do not chase each other very well. They don't run in the draft all that well, but you will definitely see downforce, and most of the time it happens up front, where the car will wash out if you follow somebody around a carousel or some sort of high-load turn. Definitely experienced that many times. That's Mikulski in that beautiful radical there, that red one, deep red color, sponsored by ProCell batteries. It's a little bit of a drama here with Zhu and Blander. What is going on here? Ben, back to the inside here at turn 9. And Zhu obviously had something to say about it, coming out of turn 6 and 7 into 8. But Blander back into the lead, and it's like nothing ever really happened here.
It's like Ben had one bad corner and Zhu took advantage of him. But then once they got back into their rhythm, Ben got the lead back, or got that second place back, but the lead among the radical cars.
Yeah, so let's watch these lap times as we cross start finish again. Another 24.4 for Ben. Again, 2.5 seconds off of what his pace would normally be, and so I wonder if he's battling through an issue or if he's just out having fun and taking the pace off intentionally, just to drive around and be able to have some battles with Zhu. But,
in fourth place, Kevin Lockridge had his quick time, just over 1:23.
23 flat, yeah, that's moving along pretty good.
Meanwhile, up front, Chris DiMuzio also had his top lap of the day as he broke into the 121s, 121.9.
Into the 21s now, finally. All right. Good battle here. Good battle here with Blander and Zhu, and coming up behind both of these guys is Lockridge. Not much drama for the moment. As you see the cars battling through the right-hander at turn 13. Wenley's out, heads through.
4 laps to go. And, good battle back
Jerry
in
Lou.
the pack.
A little further back in the pack, some side-by-side action as we head through turn 7. Mikulski on the outside, way to the inside. Oh my goodness gracious, what a line that was. And a little bit awkward, boys, a little bit awkward. Mikulski looks like he wants to make his way through here at turn 10, and he does. That's Charlie Morale.
That would not go in the books as the textbook way to make a pass, but he made it work.
I said that's Charlie Morale. Of course it's not. That's Bob Perry. But exciting. Awkward stuff. That'll be a fun conversation back in the lunchroom. Hey, what was going on through 6, 7, and 8? These two fellows will no doubt have a laugh about that later on. And Ben Blander still leads the Red Radical of John Zoo.
Yeah, Chris Musio backed off a little bit that time, a 122.3. Ben Blander with one of his best laps, 122.8, picked up the pace, and John Zoo with a 122.5 picked up his pace a little bit in that last lap.
And here they come.
I don't think that battle for leadership in the Radicals is done yet.
I don't think so either. I do mathematically, on paper anyways, I like Blander with the experience. He's been in many different cars, spends loads of time here at Autobahn. He is one of the most competent guys in those cars. And a fun fact shared with us a little while ago is Blander does hold the actual member track records on both the North and the South track in his Wolf Extreme. So it's not just that he owns fast cars, he knows how to operate them very well. And currently holds records on both tracks for members.
That's quite impressive. There's a lot of good drivers out here.
Oh yeah, for certain.
Still holding off John here, but the gap at the line was just under 2 seconds, actually 1.1 seconds at the line as they finished lap 16, 2 to go.
Zoo's running out of time. He's running out of time to get this done. And more action further back with a back marker and with the overall leader. Looks like Perry is going to let the music go. Perry having to collect it going into turn 8 there. Looks like he got off in the marbles just a tiny bit, and the car did not slow down quite the way he had expected. So you saw a little twitch of the front end there, but he's kept it on track and continues circulating around. He's got the next battle in his rearview mirror of Blander and Zoo.
They will get the white flag, this time by Chris DiMuzio, continuing to lead the way in that battle for the Radicals. Ben Blander and John Zoo, a little over a second advantage for Blander.
Oh, this is the traffic. This is the traffic that Blander did not need and that Zoo did need. Zoo goes to the inside at turn 1. As they head through turn 2, Zoo picks up the lead. We've got a lead change in Radicals on the last lap. Excellent drama.
All it took was that dirty air from the lapped car, and Zoo just pounced on him.
Bob Perry, a little bit of a pick there where Zoo is exactly what he needed. And off he goes, looking to collect a couple of championship nuggets here. It does not look like Blander anyways is going to have anything for him in these last few corners, and so that, my friend Dennis, this is the move we were waiting for, isn't it?
Whew. That happened in a hurry there as they encountered that lap traffic, but meanwhile up front Chris DiMuzio will take him to the checkered flag.
Yes, he will. Spirited drive by DiMuzio. He followed Blander for the first half of the race, but took control in the last, say, third or so, and takes the checkered flag.
A good and consistent run for John Zhu, taking advantage of that lap traffic, and he'll get Ben Blander at the line. He'll be the first place finisher in Radicals. Ben Blander in second, Wenli Zhu third among the Radicals, fourth overall, with Kevin Lockridge in fourth among the Radicals and fifth overall, and Jerry Liu rounding out your top five in the Radical class and coming home in sixth place.
A couple more corners for a couple of the cars a little bit further back into the field. That is Charles Mahar. Just took the checkered flag.
11 cars started. We'll have 10 come to the checkers.
Just waiting on Mikulski in that beautiful deep red Radical SR3XXR to finish off. There he goes. Charlie Morale will follow Mikulski in his Pro Formula Mazda. And there you have it. Your top five, DiMuzio in the F3, just how it was supposed to be. John Zhu in the Radical makes the pass on the last lap to beat Ben Blander, and a lovely Sunday situation for Mr. Zhu. Wenli Zhao is the P4 finisher in the Radicals, and then the Radical number 61 of Kevin Lockridge rounds out our top five in Wings and Things in Radical Cup. Well, you and I have had a lovely time here today, haven't we, bud?
Oh my goodness, that Miata race was incredible. And it is always fun to watch these Wings and Things cars and the Radicals out on track. They put on a good show, and we did get to see a good show with John Zhu getting that last lap pass on Ben Blander. Ben had the way of it all race long, but, you know, John was just stalking him and waiting for a chance to pounce, and when they got into that lap traffic, that was the difference that John needed to pull off that win.
Often happens toward the end of races where the lap traffic becomes the situation, and sometimes in these cars you're waiting for exactly that, because it is very difficult to make these passes when you're running around with people who are equal to your talent. It's tough. You got to be going 7/10, maybe 8/10, 9/10 a lap quicker to make a pass. And since most of these guys are running around the same lap times, it's very, very difficult. And so, yeah, really fun to watch Zhu wait, hang out, be patient, wait for Ben to either make a mistake or back off or find some traffic. And here you go. Pick yourself up a win.
And the lap traffic did nothing wrong. He was holding his line, letting the faster cars gain on him. But John made his move a little bit quicker to get to that open piece of track, and I think it surprised Ben a little bit. He wasn't anticipating that move. That's the whole difference there in that race.
I loved it. Real pleasure to watch this one. A real pleasure to call the Miata race, and an even more pleasure to hang out with Dennis Michelson. So we're ready to go here. We're not going to go live on the podium, so you've seen who finished first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. We brought it to you. We've enjoyed our day, so we'll say goodbye. Dennis, enjoy your afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Always a great time, Mike. I love calling races with you, and our next stream is scheduled for the Oktoberfest race on the 18th of October, so we'll catch you then.
We'll see you then. So long, everyone.